All right, let's get to our headliner topic of this week's Rock Squad podcast. And this is actually very exciting. This wasn't something that I expected to be announced this week, but Metallica have announced the 30th anniversary of the Black Album, along with a companion album called The Blacklist that is going to feature Biffy Clyro, Weezer, and more. It's actually going to feature 53 different artists and bands covering their favorite songs from the Black Album. All the profits from the sale of the Blacklist are going to go to Metallica's charitable foundation called All Within My Hands. And Dave, this list of bands is right up our alley when you look at this thing. You know, when you think about the bands we've talked about on the show so far: Weezer, Biffy Clyro, Royal Blood, Pup, a great Canadian punk rock band, Corey Taylor from Slipknot, of course, and many more. Both the remastered album and the Blacklist are going to come out on September the 10th. And I was just thinking, what do you think about the Black Album 30 years later? Let's talk about that. But also, what do you think of the lineup on this new Blacklist album?
I think everything they're doing is really cool. I think, like you have to look back at the Black Album. Like you can't miss a 30-year anniversary. There's, I'm sure there'll be more about it too. There was so much footage, like video footage with Bob Rock when they were recording that record. And I'm really into it. I love all those bands you just mentioned. So hearing them do takes on Black Album songs or Metallica songs or whatever it's going to be is super cool. I'm really into it. Metallica is one of those bands I haven't always been really into. I've had my through the whole Napster thing, and we weren't born in the time where you had to like Metallica.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like you had to like it. You had to kind of discover Metallica if you were born in like the mid to late 80s, because then you were like 10 in the mid 90s.
Right.
So the older I've gotten, the more I've learned, I've got to appreciate the band and everything. And so, yeah, this is cool. It's nice to look back. It's when Jason Newsted was still in the band, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's his first record with the band. It's the process of that album is like legend among producers and engineers, and the writing and the recording of that record. So yeah, man, this is definitely a record that deserves its 30-year flowers, as Kevin Hart would say. So I'm really excited. And like you said, Biffy, Weezer, all of these bands, Royal Blood, these are all bands that are on our top 50 of right now in rock. So it's exciting. Yeah. It's exciting to keep looking at the past and showing it to new generations of rock fans,
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, Weezer is going to do Enter Sandman, which makes sense because they've had metal ties for many years. Rivers started out as a metal guy. There's a song, I think it might be one more hit on the Van Weezer record that's very Enter Sandman-ish. Royal Blood's doing Sad But True. Biffy Clyro, Corey Taylor, and Pup are all doing Holier Than Thou. So there are some repeats happening because there are 53 artists. Volbeat's doing Don't Tread on Me, which is cool as well. So there's a lot more on this list of artists that are going to be on the Blacklist. But thinking about the Black Album itself, it's still just this seminal and rock and metal album 30 years later. And I know a lot of hardcore Metallica fans would be like, no, that's when they sold out. That's when they jumped the shark. When you think about, we want Master of Puppets, we want Ride the Lightning, we don't want the Black Album. But even though it is mainstream, you can't deny, it sold 30 million copies. You can't deny the impact that the album has had on rock music over the last 30 years. And like you, I'm not a huge Metallica fan. I enjoy me some Metallica from time to time. Yeah. I can still dig some Enter Sandman. I can still dig some Sad But True. But I'm not going to dig too deep into anything Metallica. I'm not a huge fan, but I think it's really cool that they're doing something where they're honoring the original album with a remaster, but then doing something new by bringing all these artists in who have these different interpretations of their songs. And not all the artists on this thing are rock artists. We'll see, there's Miley Cyrus on this thing, as well as some other pop artists as well. So it's exciting to hear that they're going to be doing all these different interpretations of these songs. And it's funny you mentioned like we aren't of the generation that was that had to love Metallica. It's funny because like I have an older sister. And when she was into music in the early 90s, that's kind of what I got into. So she was a little bit older than me, and she had Metallica, the Black Album. So I remember being in her room and putting on that CD and listening to Enter Sandman and Sad But True and Nothing Else Matters and all those hits, and just being like, oh, this is great. Metallica's awesome. There's other bands she listened to like Nirvana and the Pumpkins, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, that kind of stuff. But I do remember listening to the Black album quite a bit, and this Blacklist thing is super cool. I'm not going to, I don't think, be able to buy the whole set, but I might shell out to buy this Blacklist thing. It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. If you're a fan, I'm sure it's gonna be amazing. Like they don't cheap out. They treat their fans right. You know, if anybody in rock is doing the fan treatment with the access and all that, it's Metallica. Like that's an organization right there. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's very exciting. I can't wait to hear the Biffy and the Royal Bloods and the and the Weezer stuff to see how
Yeah.
they view those songs. Because you can attest to this. I'm a big advocate of bands doing songs their way.
Right.
We've played in
Yeah.
cover bands all forever, and I'm always pushing like, let's not be a tribute band. Let's push it, like let's do how we hear it. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But so when it works, it really works. And if you're a good band, it really helps glue songs together. In a set.
For sure. Yeah. So we're looking forward to this new Blacklist album, 30th anniversary of the Black album from Metallica. Have you seen on YouTube any of the stuff they did in studio on the Howard Stern show?
Yeah, I have. I all those Howard Stern clips are amazing,
The
man. Like
sound on them is great. Like the ST, there's some Stone Temple Pilots
STP
stuff from,
stuff,
yeah,
so
super
good,
cool.
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Green
I have
Day.
seen them. In like the Metallica, they have like a full setup. It's like
I
they have
know.
like huge amps, and I'm like,
It's
what the fuck is
crazy.
happening here?
But the sound is
Yeah,
so crisp and so contained
yeah,
and so
yeah.
well
It's great.
mixed, and everything is so well put together when they do those sessions. It's crazy that, Howard Stern, obviously, is, a high profile guy. It's on Sirius XM, but for them to have the best live in studio sound, it's so hard to get that sound right. When
Sure.
you look at episodes of SNL or any radio program or anything
Or
like
late
that,
night.
live
Yeah,
program, late night show,
yeah.
it's very hard to get the right sound. And they do it so well on Howard Stern. So I would recommend anybody check out, if you want to look up some videos on YouTube and fall down a little bit of a YouTube rabbit hole, check out
There's
some Howard
lots.
Stern stuff. Yeah.
There's lots, man. I think there's some Van Halen stuff
Oh
too.
yeah.
There's like, yeah, there's some Ozzy stuff too. Like, there's all sorts of cool stuff. If you're a fan of rock, Howard Stern definitely caters to your palate.
Yeah. Foo Fighters stuff. There's some good acoustic
Oh
stuff from
yeah.
the late 90s.
And
They
like
have a
through the
line in
years too,
Monroe.
like I just watched a thing with STP where it was like, I think it was the Howard was remembering Scott Weiland, right?
Yeah.
So it showed like all the appearances through the years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he's been on like 15 times doing like acoustic things or solo things. So you can definitely fall into a Howard Stern YouTube hole quick watching legendary performances by rock stars.